Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Good Morning Talk. In this session, we're going to talk about desire and really defining what it is that you want in your life. And the thing about desire is it's the key to unlocking your life. All right? That key is knowing what you want. So to unlock the life that you want to live, you really need to know what it is that you want to create in your life. And why is this so important? Well, studies show neuroscience, some of the other scientific findings that we're seeing, and how the brain works. The brain doesn't recognize the difference between when we're asleep and when we're awake, which means that the dream state for the mind becomes a sense of reality for it. With this in mind, visualization, seeing it in your mind, practicing mind work visualization in that way really allows you to become connected to what it is that you want. What we focus on, we create. The more we can get the mind focused in a particular direction, the more probabilities that we're going to have of creating that life. So this is how all of this works. Desire is very difficult for us because we're trapped in the identity. The identity is that set of habitual patterns. When we have those habitual patterns and that portion is controlling our life, we are out of touch with our creative process, our natural creative process. We need to become aligned to that creative process if we're going to move away from the identity. To move away from the habitual processes, we need to focus. As long as the brain is in control, we can't change the brain with the brain. But what we can do is we can shift away from the brain through the mind. What does that mean? The mind is conscious choice, determined choice. We are able to make choices in our life through the mind. We're unable to. Life is predetermined. In other words, all of our choices are predetermined by the rule set of the behaviors of the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is in control. Everything is predetermined. Our life is a set of habitual actions that we're going to take based upon how we're feeling, what's going on in our heads, what's happening in our environment. We're pretty much checked out when it comes to conscious choice. Conscious choice is taken when we're focused on what we want to create. And it's very difficult to create or to focus that or create that focus. It's really difficult to create that focus when we're trapped in the habitual patterns, because the habitual patterns are just that. It's like a computer program. We got to get out of that program and adjust ourselves to conscious mind. When we make that shift, we can decide what we want. So how do we make that shift? Start trying to figure out what it is that you want. Create a vision board. Create a list of 100 things that you want. Got that idea from Jack Canfield in his book, The Aladdin Factor. List out 100 things that you want. I want, and those 100 things. It's a very difficult process to do because 100 things is actually a lot. You get to about 20, 25, sometimes 15, depending on the individual. You start running out of things that you want. You really have to start becoming creative. Create that vision board. If you're a visual individual, there's multiple processes that you can do to start to define what it is that you want. The key is to move far enough away from the identity to allow you to start the creative process of finding out what it is that you want. Because here's the deal. We get an idea of what we want, right? We think, oh, well, what is this person going to say? Or what is that person going to say? Or, what is my family going to say about this? Or, my significant other. We start thinking about other people in the context of our life. But let me tell you, if somebody is actually really there to support you, they're going to support you in whatever it is they decide that you're going to do. And if they don't support you in what you decide you want to do, then are they really supporting you? And that's a question that you're going to have to ask yourself. And if you can't live without an individual, make a desire that brings that individual into your life. that gives meaning for them to be there as just as much as it makes meaning for you to be there. All right? It's not all about me. It's all about what works. What do I want to create? And as you decide what it is that you want to create today, you don't have to stay in that picture tomorrow. You don't have to stay in that picture next week, next month. As you start going through this process, you're going to grow. Allow yourself to grow in the process. So creating your desire. How do you do this? Get in touch with what you want. Find out what motivates you that's going to drive your actions and allow you to stay focused on exactly what it is that you want. Know that you're going to adjust it over time. And why are you going to adjust it over time? Because you're going to grow. You're going to get more in tune with what you truly want, not what you think you want. What really drives and motivates you? When you can figure that out, that gives you the focus that makes everything else so much easier. Because now you start thinking that you're really going to create the life that you want to live. That's faith. When you start taking action, you start seeing your actions leading you to where you want to go, you start believing that you're going to get there. When you blend the thought that you're going to get there through faith and the belief that you're getting there, when those two combine, you start trusting the process. And when you trust the process, you have become aligned between your inner world and your outer world. When your inner world and your outer world become aligned, that's when you really become authentic to your true self, because you are now in connection with yourself and with the material world, and you're authentically taking action to create and live within your environment. And there's your authenticity. And desire is really one of the keys because it provides you the focus to be where you're at. I know some of you out there are struggling, and some of you are really going to struggle with this portion of desire because it's really difficult for us to figure out what it is that we want. When there's more choices, life becomes more difficult. So life becomes more difficult with the more choices we have. What do I mean by that? The world tells us that we can do whatever it is that we want to do. Just pick something. Well, what are we going to pick? Becomes difficult to choose. I get it. Let's get away from the identity and attuned enough with our inner world to understand something about ourselves that we do want. Start from there. Focus on that and start moving forward. If you have a very good picture of what it is that you want, start to identify some of the fears, some of the things that are holding you back from taking that action. And when you start to think about those things, don't focus on them. Think about how you can focus on something else. In other words, how do you fix those issues and then focus on the fix? All right? So let's say somebody doesn't want you to do something. Okay, well, how can I do that without upsetting that person? Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a way that you change the view of the relationship. Something along those lines. The idea is to shift away from the fear and the doubt and into the focus of what you want to create in the first place. That's desire. I know some of you out there are struggling. Put in your comments down in the video, below this video, and let me know what you're struggling with. Let me know what your issues are. Let me help address that with you to see if we can't get you to move past those issues, those blockages, and into the life, and at least finding the life that you want to live. So we can start focusing on that, putting that into a statement, getting your focus on that, and start getting the ideas necessary to take action. In the next video, we're going to talk about integrity, which is the action. We need the desire, we need the focus so we can start to get the plans necessary to achieving it. What's the point of having a desire in your mind if you're not going to take the action in the real world? So when you're defining desire, that's a good point as well. Think about the actions that you're going to take. I really don't want to do that though. Then that's probably not the desire for you. If you Imagine taking the action and you're like, maybe I don't want to, or wow, yeah, that's actually really what I want to be doing. Thinking about that action is going to help you develop more of your desire. All right. So, another thing that you want to look at, hold on just a second. So another thing that you want to look at in this process is possibly creating your perfect day. Write out your perfect day. List out your perfect day. What do I mean by that? Think about what you're going to do when you wake up in the morning. Think about what you're doing in the afternoon. What are you doing in the evenings? What are you doing for work? What are you doing with your friends? What are you doing with family? How are you interacting with your life throughout the day? This gives you a really good idea of what actions you're going to be taking and then what actions are going to be aligned to your desire. And again, if those actions aren't quite what you want, you're going to need to adjust your desire a bit. And so tomorrow on integrity, we're going to get a little bit more into that in-depthness of action and desire. So again, it's all about defining your desire and what you want so you can focus on creating the life that you want. Beautiful. What's up, Zero Cool? It's good to have you here. Thank you. And so yes, desire. All about focusing on what it is that you want. That focus is what's going to help you to move past the identity, take determined choice in your life, and move forward. Are there any questions about desire or where to start when it comes to desire? Any blockages that anybody's dealing with that's keeping them from defining the desire that they want to create? Because that's really the key. You know, if we have a blockage that's keeping us from creating the desire that we want to live, how are you going to create that life? In other words, if you have an idea of what it is that you want, but you can't take the action or you can't focus on that, and you go right back to the identity, you're following a predetermined choice all over again. The fact is, we were given one gift when we were born, and that's free will. To exercise our free will to create the life that we want to live, that's the key. To exercise that determined choice, we have to get past the subconscious programming, move past that, move away, shift into the conscious mind to allow us to take conscious choice. From that place, we're aligned to being the creators that we were always designed to be. We are aligned to creating the life that we want to live and no longer the predetermined life our subconscious behaviors leads us towards. We break the program and become determined free will choice aligned to creation. And that starts with desire. Honesty is about becoming honest with those blockages so we can move past them. Desire is defining the life that you want to live so you can start living it. There it is. Integrity is about the action that creates the mindset aligned to creation to leading you to the life that you want to live. Everything else, mindfulness. Everything else is a practice. We practice all of that other stuff. We design the mindset. Who do you want to be? Keep the end in mind in the beginning. That way you stay focused on that end and today, right here, right now in this moment. At that threshold of creation, you start taking the action to create it. Any questions? All right, creators, that's it. If you have questions, please leave the questions below in the comments. I really would love to hear some of the comments that you have and what you need and help to create that desire for yourself, because this is the beginning of the process of creating the life that you want to live. So we have to create that end first. We've got to create that focus. From that focus, everything else starts to come into alignment of creating it. We can't just sit back and expect things to manifest to ourselves because we're going to think about it. No, we have to blend the thinking with the action. You actually have to take action in the material world in order to create something. That action is going to be drawn from the focus of your desire. And that's it. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Zero Cool, it's good to have you here. Thank you, sir. And yeah, I look forward to having you back this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. And that's where we're going to start talking about integrity and start it's really going to be about how do we start to develop the plans necessary to create the alignment of our desire or to manifest our desire into our desired life through our actions. And so that's integrity. We'll be here at 9 p.m. Look forward to seeing everybody in. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Enjoy.